everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from hot but going to cool Salt Lake City, Utah.
Thank God I'm Atheist.
The podcast.
I'm Frank.
And I'm Dan, and we're both very excited that weather is happening in Salt Lake City right now.
You know, I like the warm, Dan, but I like the cool better.
Yeah, well.
Actually, I don't even like the warm too much.
I like the warm, but it's fine. It's a desert. We very rarely get actual weather in the summertime.
Yeah, but and coming up today on today's show, Shannon Low.
Shannon Low,
of the Order of Elijah.
Yeah. This is a very spiffy former Christian band.
Now atheist band?
Now no longer Christian.
They disbanded?
They just rebranded the banded.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. That's coming up on the second half of the show. Dan did a nice little interview with them, so we'll listen in.
We'll play that.
Yeah,
That's a thing to do.
We'll just eavesdrop on their conversation.
Already in progress. No, we now join
midstream.
Yeah, exactly. But before we do that, we have stories to tell you.
No.
Yes, we do.
Nope.
Yep. There's shit that happened out there in the universe, and we're going to tell you every bit of it.
Okay.
You want go?
All right, Dan.
On your mark,
You're a movie fan, Dan, right?
I'm a lover of the cinema.
Cinema. I actually had a professor who called it cinema.
Really?
He was from the UK.
Uh-huh.
And it was cinema.
I don't know why they emphasize the "ah" at the end. Oh, I do enjoy the cinema. Why are you putting the emphasis on the end there?
Yeah, they do, though. Well, you know that nice Mel Gibson?
Oh, that really nice fella. He
produced that Passion of the Christ film.
He did indeed.
A few years ago.
And got himself into some hot water over some comments. Anyway.
Yeah. Nonetheless, he's back.
Oh, good.
This time making Passion of the Christ 2, Jesus Returns.
Oh, no. Wait, the title I'm guessing is a joke.
Well, I just made that up. But
Okay.
Passion of the Christ sequel is in the works.
Revenge of Jesus.
Yeah, he's back. Well, you know, the thing is, the original Passion of the Christ really focused in on, you know, his death.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, miserably so. Horrifyingly, gorily,
snuff film
awful
style.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was. I turned it off.
I didn't watch it, but I certainly read lots of articles that were like. I mean, it's interesting because Christian parents who would never let their kids see a rated R movie, let their kids watch this, and apparently was just terrifying,
traumatizing,
just traumatizing,
awful.
Yeah.
It was, a lot of people accused Gibson of sort of reveling in the gore.
Well, they might as well.
And
it's part of the story.
Well, nonetheless, this will be a look at the resurrection.
Oh.
So it is the return of Jesus.
Interesting.
Passion of the Christ 2.
Passion doubles.
Resurrection of the Christ.
3 days later.
In a world
right.
where gods can die.
Yeah, exactly. And then come back. Well, whatever.
They never really were dead.
Right. Oh, my God.
He was just in the spirit world.
Yeah, he was just spiffing up a little bit before he came back. So dumb.
So there'll be, I'm sure there will be a really graphic, St. Thomas, sticking his finger with a nice little squishy sound effect.
Yeah, not good. No, this time it's gonna be just about love and winning. I guess Jesus wins.
Hashtag winning.
Hashtag winning. Suck it, Romans. Jesus wins.
Yeah, so...
Oh, wait, we're talking about Gibson. Sorry. Suck it, Jews. Oh, my God.
Nonetheless, nobody has... there's no studio or financial backers yet.
Oh, okay. So,
according to the Hollywood Reporter.
This has just been announced without any sort of...
Yeah, it'll
get funded.
It's too early to talk money.
Oh.
Quote, this is such a huge and sacred subject. No money yet.
Okay.
No money.
Any plans on or any announcements of casting? Are we going to have Caviezel back again?
Oh no, Jesus is coming. He's gonna.
Oh, real Jesus.
Yeah, real Jesus.
Jesus will be played by himself.
This is the coup.
The big announcement. They're going to be dropping a huge bomb.
The unveiling is going to be remarkable.
The second coming, or the comeback,
right?
Because Jesus, he had
because it's a Hollywood thing.
Yeah, it's a comeback. Yeah. All right. Well, from Jerusalem via Hollywood, I'm going to take us to Iowa.
Oh yeah,
via Salt Lake City. I don't know.
Iowa.
Iowa is a state in the United States. I'm sure you've heard of it.
It's true. Never been.
Famous Iowa for its corn. Mm-hmm. That's about it.
I guess.
I don't know what else Iowa would be famous for.
Yeah.
Anyway, now they're famous because their governor has issued an executive proclamation. In the name and by the authority of the state of Iowa, that basically says that all Iowans should go to a statewide county courthouse Bible reading marathon.
I beg your pardon?
It's a peach of a thing, this document, this proclamation.
Oh, no.
It's got...
Is this one of those non-binding things, hopefully?
5, 6, 7, 8 different whereases.
I love a good whereas.
Everybody loves a good whereas. Whereas, it begins, all scripture is essential to prepare us to be the people God wants us to be.
All scripture? Really?
All scripture.
Really? Are they including the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants,
the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
All scripture.
All scripture is essential to prepare us to be the people God wants us to be and to accomplish the purpose for which he has created us.
Yeah, okay.
And whereas America, being founded upon biblical principles and Judeo-Christian ethics, as taught in the Bible, paid tribute to the Bible for its important influence upon the development of our nation.
Oh, dear God.
By many of our great national leaders, such as President Washington, Jackson, Lincoln, Wilson, and... Whereas President Andrew Jackson called the Bible on the book on which the Republic rests.
Yes.
And President Abraham Lincoln called the Bible, quote, the best gift God has given to man.
Ugh.
That's like saying, your bad uncle who gives you shitty gifts. This is the best gift he's given us. He's given us he's the guy that gives you like the hedge trimmer when you live in an apartment.
No, this is more like the grandmother who wraps up stuff from around the house.
Oh, right.
Gives it to you.
Right, yeah. You get a box
half-opened, what was it?
A half-open bag of chocolates or a box of macaroni and cheese.
We're actually referencing a real thing here.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Although, to be fair, it was 3 boxes of macaroni and cheese.
Oh, now that's a nice gift.
Much better. And then the person next to that person got an iPod, which Grandma had no idea what it was. It's like, what the fuck? I have no idea how that... Anyway, apparently, because all of these things and a whole bunch of other whereases... including whereas lawmakers, law enforcement, social scientists, civic and church leaders are searching for solutions to the critical problems facing our nation, such as the drug crisis, violence, and social injustice, all of which can be found within God's revealed will for mankind, and blah, blah, blah. Now, therefore, I, Terry E. Fucktard, governor of the state of Iowa.
Is that really his last name?
It is, actually. That's really weird.
Wow.
How
did he get elected?
You'd think he would have changed it. I just don't think they know those words.
Is it really like Fucktard?
Fucktard. It's Futar. Do hereby encourage all Iowans to join in the historical Iowa 99 County Bible Reading Marathon to take place on June the...
That sounds awful.
Yeah.
Why did he do that?
Did you not hear the whereases?
Those
why.
are the assumptions. But he's
jumping to some pretty major and unfounded conclusions.
Yeah. This is all based on nothing.
Of course, the FUFRF and the ACLU, there's a bunch of people who are not thrilled by this, according to the Des Moines Register. Who was it? There was somebody from the ACLU, I think.
Okay.
Said, "Oh no, this is co-president of the FUFRF, Annie Laurie Gaylor." That's too many IEs at the end of names.
Yeah.
I said the government is supposed to be neutral toward religion. Can you imagine the uproar if the governor used state resources to encourage people to go to a quote "God is dead" rally or a vigil to review how divisive religion is? Everyone can see how inappropriate that would be. This is exactly the same type of violation. So I don't know that the Iowans will see it that way. I haven't ventured into the comments section of the Register. I just clicked it. Here we go. First comment that I see: if the peasants and heathens would study their Bibles like Pope Brandstand recommends, he's being clever. They too might someday achieve the spiritual purity that His Holiness and the Iowa Republican Church have already accomplished. Amen.
Nice.
That's cute.
Nice. Well done.
I like that.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, there you go. So move to Iowa, everybody.
Or move to Georgia.
Oh, good. Oh, great. I was hoping we'd move to Georgia.
Where a Baptist official has just come out and said it.
Oh, yeah.
Freedom of religion is not for Muslims.
Right.
It's for us.
Doy. I mean...
And by us, I mean Baptists.
Right.
I was quoting him, not...
Good Americans.
Quoting him. Yeah.
Real Americans, which means, as this governor of Iowa would tell you, it means Christian.
Yeah,
it doesn't... Absolutely. I mean, all Scripture is essential, but only if it's Christian Scripture.
I mean, this comes up. This whole idea. I mean, and people, the religious types, will be a little more cagey sometimes, or smart in their presentation of this sentiment. But he just flat out said it. He in a sort of a little, what would you call it, an editorial or whatever, in a little Baptist newsletter thing. He wrote these opinions about how Islam, this is his line, Islam may be more of a geopolitical movement than a religion. So he's trying to shift what Islam is so that he can argue against it.
Well, when the goalposts aren't where you need them to be,
you just
move them. Move the goalposts.
Move them. He says even if it were a religion, quote, religious freedom for Muslims means allowing them the right to establish Islam as the state religion, subjugating infidels, even murdering those who are critics of Islam and those who oppose their brutal religion.
Yeah, that's our right to do, not theirs.
Yeah, we got here first,
right?
Actually, second.
But we way overpowered those first ones, so we win. We won already.
So we know the risk here.
Right.
You know, we don't want them coming and overpowering us.
The last thing we need is for somebody else to do what we've already done. We did it already.
We did it. It was terrible. History should never be repeated.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I do love that idea. The idea that, you know what, these guys are just going to come in here and try and turn this place into a theocracy with them at the top.
Terrible.
That is not okay. We're supposed to be at the top.
Who would do that? Who would do that in these United States?
Right.
Who?
Now.
Who?
Let's get to making this country Christian again. Oh, my God.
So, apparently this was a little bit of a reaction to the fact that the Southern Baptists are sort of participating in, you know, a little bit more of ecumenical conversations and whatnot. What? And so he's like, no, not my Southern Baptist church.
Right.
No way.
Don't talk to those people. Those people. We don't talk to those people.
They're going to ruin this country, and then they're going to kill us all.
Right. They're going to turn us into a religious country.
Yeah. Awful.
Awful.
Terrible.
They're going to actually achieve the thing that we want to achieve, only with their brand and not ours. Oh, lordy lord.
I would hate to be a Christian in America right now.
Oh, well.
Like that brand of Christian.
First of all, the persecution that they have to suffer is just outrageous. People not letting them do every single thing they want to do.
I know.
It's it's so hard because they're losing privilege left and right. Everywhere they look, their privilege is crumbling around them.
No, it's
so sad.
It's just the worst. How will they survive?
Well, speaking of Muslims, I'm going to take us to... have you heard of this? It's a cute little country called Saudi Arabia.
Oh, I hear it's lovely this time of year.
Arabian Nights. I'm pretty sure that's what... that Saudi Arabia is just like Aladdin, the movie Aladdin, right?
Yeah,
pretty much.
Those Disney,
they do their research.
Yeah, Disney, they really they get it all right.
Yeah, they definitely do.
Always accurate cultural representation
in Saudi Arabia. We've talked about this before. There's this box that they like a lot.
Okay,
there's this big cube that they're really fond of. There,
Does this box, by chance, contain the remains of a meteorite?
No, it has the Ark of the Covenant. No, I'm just kidding. No. Yes, it's just a. I
was like, wait, I haven't heard of this one. What is this?
No. We're talking about the what is the thing called that they do the
Kaaba?
Yes, and
in Mecca,
the Kaaba San Lucas.
A horrible place to go for vacation.
Right? Yes,
I guarantee you.
No, we're talking about Mecca and the
where you can first get a stomach parasite, and then you have to shave your head.
Oh.
And where
you're getting really into this. I don't know. You're going very.
I was trying to merge the two, Dan.
Right? Yes, I got it. You're going meta in Mecca. It's fine. We'll move on. So yes,
you couldn't hear my eye roll.
No. They heard it. I think everyone heard it.
The pregnant pauses, my eyes are usually rolling.
Anyway, yes, there's a big square that everybody's supposed to walk around at least once in their life. But I don't think that Muhammad understood how big his religion was going to get.
Oh, he knew. He was a prophet. He was the prophet, Dan.
He was the prophet.
He saw it all.
The end-all and be-all, the final prophet.
The Alpha and the Omega?
No, just the Omega.
The Omega.
Yeah, he's just the last one.
Oh, okay.
The Alpha was, I don't know, Jesus? No.
Abraham.
Adam? Abraham.
Maybe.
Who knows? Anyway, he's the last one, and he said that everybody in his religion had to go to Mecca if they could possibly swing it.
Right.
And walk in a circle.
Yeah.
Very, very important thing to do is to walk in a circle.
There are other things that you do, but that's the big one.
Right. Mostly it's about that.
That's what the event's famous for.
Right. And people have been trampled and it's getting out of hand. It's out of control. It's too big for its britches. So they've been expanding the britches for the longest time now. Since the 70s, there's been a plan in place to expand this thing and make it huge and make it capable of handling the millions of people that come every year now. Since the the reason that it started in the 70s was because that's when the oil boom of Saudi Arabia began, and suddenly they had the money to do this.
Ah, yes.
To the tune of like $26 billion they're pumping into this thing.
Sure.
Largely led by the Saudi bin Laden group. Don't worry, you don't remember that name from anything. Yes.
Okay.
That's the family of Mr. Osama. He went in a different direction.
So what kind of improvements? I mean, because like you said, it's just a big box full of rocks.
Right. And it had this sort of, it was built in sort of all of the architecture around it was sort of Ottoman era architecture.
Really
now they're building around all of the building around.
Right.
And they're going with a much more Arabian architecture.
Well,
but
fuck them.
No, fuck the Ottomans. It's our country. No, it's amazing, but they're building this huge complex with giant. I mean, it's basically Vegas without any of the fun. They are building huge, like enormous hotels. They're building infrastructure so that so that you can do the Hajj, walking in the circle on an escalator sort of thing, on a moving sidewalk sort of thing. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, I mean, walking around the thing's hard.
It's oh god,
it's so hard.
It's like. Well, I will say that they spent a shit ton of money just on like big shade umbrellas for the plaza.
Yeah.
Because it's like 4 billion degrees that these guys are doing this Hajj walking.
Yeah.
So
Hajj walking.
And they also they added like hundreds of bathrooms because that was a problem.
I would think it would have to be thousands of bathrooms. That mosque, when they're done with it, isn't it supposed to hold like 1.5 million people all at once?
It's some crazy number.
It's something ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's so absurd how big the thing's going to be.
Yeah,
like, do you have an aerial picture of the whole thing that you're looking at?
Yeah, well, I've got a picture. It looks aerial. It's actually taken from one of the hotels.
Oh, from like one of the world's largest buildings, yeah.
Because they're so tall.
Buildings. Yeah, that whole big thing in the background there.
Yeah.
That's one big mosque.
Yeah.
That's one building.
It's enormous.
Unbelievable. Like
it basically looks like, if you go to Vegas and you see the giant malls that they're building and all
fantastic.
All the giant things, that's what this feels like.
Yeah. Do they have like like all the high-end shops?
Oh, I'm sure somewhere. I'm guessing not in the mosque. Maybe there will be. I'm guessing there will be some shops in the mosque, but for like memorabilia.
Because I mean, the fact of the matter is, once you walk into that thing, if you get in the middle of it, it's a good hour walk to probably get out of it.
To get anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the thing's huge. It makes the Mall of America look tiny.
Well, we can't have that.
It's just terrible.
Somebody build a Christian version of this. We need a
yeah, I know.
And I think your idea of Mall of I think it needs to be in the Midwest of the United States somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, the Catholics did a pretty good job back in the day, and they got their own city out of the deal, too.
Oh, yeah, the Vatican's a thing, but now this is definitely winning.
This just shames. Just put St. Peter's to shame.
Yeah, it definitely does.
But it's a similar concept. When they built St. Peter's, they ripped down the older basilica that had been there, the old St. Peter's
that
basilica.
Was a shitty basilica.
But it was one of the most beloved buildings in all of Christendom.
Right, indeed.
And it was considered like the most sacred and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then they come along and they're
like, nah,
knock it down, blah.
Nah, we'll just do a bigger, better one.
Right. And this is the same concept.
Who do we have to paint the ceiling? I don't know. We'll find somebody. I'm just kidding.
That's
a different thing, yeah.
It's in the Vatican, though.
Yeah.
You're right.
Anyway, so there you go.
Okay, Dan.
I think we need to have a TGIA trip to Mecca.
Well, first we have to convert to Islam.
We can't even go to... I mean, we can't go into the stuff.
You can't get in Saudi Arabia, Dan.
We can't?
No. Unless you're on, like, a diplomatic passport or one of their, like oil workers.
We'll say we're journalists.
It doesn't work. They won't let you in. No foreign nationals who are not
we can convert to
Muslim.
Islam. All you have to do is say, I convert to Islam.
I know.
I just did it. Shit, I just converted. God damn it. How do you get out? Well, there you go.
All right. Well, Dan.
Yes.
Got a story that's kind of sort of related to the one that I just did, but it goes in a little bit of a different place. The AP has this series that they are doing on Divided America.
Which is ridiculous because America's not divided at all.
No. It says it right in the name of the country.
Yeah.
United
States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're united.
Right.
This one, they took a look at evangelicals and sort of the current state of mind of evangelicals in general. The headline says that evangelicals feel alienated, anxious.
Oh.
And wouldn't you too, though, if since you thought that you were a major political power.
Right.
And all of a sudden you go through a political season and you find out, nope.
Yeah.
Not anymore, folks. Well, your power is waning.
The GOP, all the GOP candidates still pandered to them.
They tried because that was the pattern.
Right.
It didn't work. There weren't enough of them.
Right.
And there's numbers to show that the evangelical whatchamacallit membership has actually fallen off quite a bit. And that even though the numbers who are showing up and voting are sort of similar, they're just not they're not able to counteract a lot of the sort of prevailing, trends in America toward, I mean, look at the things that they lost in the last just couple of years. They lost the whole gay marriage thing.
Oh, that's a tragedy.
Right. They continue every time anything having to do with like prayer in schools comes up. The only thing they're really doing decently on is abortion.
Right. Yeah.
And that's always been their main one issue.
And they're chipping away. They just chip.
They're chipping away at that one. But anywho, now the attitude amongst evangelicals, not surprisingly, is that liberals are wanting to seal sort of our cultural victory by now silencing the church through all these efforts of like getting the 10 Commandments removed from state grounds,
right?
All those sorts of things, things that never should have happened in the first place,
right? Things that they weren't allowed to do, and now we're silencing them.
When you live in a supposedly secular system, right? Those things should never have happened,
right? But
they just did. Whatever. Now we're taking corrective action and just making it appropriate, making everybody feel like we have
equal
a space in the public realm.
Right.
Right.
Except them.
Not them, because theirs got taken away.
Right. They had extra space, and now they're mad. We don't have any space anymore.
Yeah. And, so, bakers, clerks, religious leaders of charities and schools, they're feeling a little targeted.
I was just approached yesterday.
Oh.
Outside of a restaurant, I was going in for lunch, and a guy was going to sell me some banana bread.
Oh, really?
And I was like, oh. And he said, it's for shelter. And I was like, oh. And he said, for addicted people. And I said, oh. And he said, it's the Christian blah, blah, blah. And I went, oh. And I was with a friend, and she asked him, so what's the Christian part? And he was like, well, it's the only cure. And we said, no, not interested.
Bye.
Sorry.
Keep your banana bread.
There's actually science for that. We know it's not the cure. It doesn't work. Your Jesus doesn't work, and your banana bread's probably gross. So, there.
Yeah. This is a quote.
Okay.
From this dude, Richie Clendenin.
Oh yeah, him.
He is the pastor of the Christian Fellowship Church in Benton, Kentucky.
Yeah.
And they're quoting a lot from the sermon that he gave, and he says, "The Bible says in this life you will have troubles, you will have persecutions, and Jesus takes it a step further. You'll be hated by all nations for my name's sake," he said. "Let me tell you, this or that time is here." Right? It's finally arrived, folks.
So the prophecy is, my church will make you so annoying that everyone will just roll their eyes and not want to be around you.
He continues.
Okay.
There's nobody hated more in this nation than Christians. Welcome to America's Most Wanted. You.
Yeah. Yeah. They do love their persecution complex, don't they?
Atheists?
Yeah.
Atheists aren't more hated.
Well, how can you be the most hated group when you're also the biggest group? Do you hate yourselves? Is that what's happening?
Well, as far as like Protestant, though, Protestant has slipped under 50% of the country, the total population.
Yeah, but still,
collectively. Now, evangelicals never were in a majority.
But if you add but they're using the word Christian.
But they use the word Christian to talk specifically about like born again Christians. I mean, that's what they're talking about. because they don't really think that Catholics are Christian. I mean, they are, but they're not Christians. They're not their kind of Christian, right?
Well, everything
like they've
with
got
them
their
is
little
a no
club.
true Scotsman fallacy.
Of course. But yeah, no. I think that what he's talking about there is their brand of Christian,
right? Well,
because you can't look at the Supreme Court, Dan, that has Jews and Roman Catholics only on it, and feel like Christians are the most hated group in America,
right?
Not, I don't think they're talking about themselves.
Yeah,
or they are only talking about themselves.
They're only talking about they're not including other brands of Christianity.
Yeah. And nonetheless, it goes on. The article is actually a really good read. We have to post it somewhere. But nonetheless, all about culture war and how the cultural war has moved on, and it's just not the same thing anymore. It doesn't have the same traction that it once did. They're frantically looking for another culture war. Seems to be centering around bathrooms at the moment. But,
right, yeah.
I don't think that's going to get them anywhere either.
There's these, I don't know, somebody just blew up a bomb in a Target, so they're making some hay out of it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, bathrooms. Don't go to the bathroom.
I think once Americans
it's a battleground.
Get used to the idea that trans people are out there and they're just people being people.
Yeah, it's going to take a while.
It's going to take a minute, but I think we're on a good path for that. It feels like a good path.
Well, I'm glad. I'm seeing some years of battle with that one.
No, it's not like they're just going to roll over. But I really think that there's something. I don't know.
We'll see.
I think we're going to see it move quickly. I hope we see it move quickly.
I hope you're right. You're right. I've got an update from a story that we did fairly recently.
Oh, indeed.
Do you remember a month or two ago we were talked about the Dutch Ark, Noah's Ark, that was going to set sail? They built an Ark.
Yeah.
A replica, an exact replica of Noah's Ark, except for the fact that it's actually just built over a actual barge that would be seaworthy, and they just clad it in Noah-like materials.
Okay.
On the outside.
Okay.
Anyway, this thing was going to set sail. It was, I believe, headed for Brazil. Isn't that what we talked about? Headed for somewhere in South America, and then it was on the big world tour. So it launched. Unfortunately, maybe God had other plans.
Oh, no.
When
Did they have lots of animals on it?
It was being towed on Friday out to get out to sea. The crew lost control, and it collided with a Norwegian Coast Guard patrol boat.
Oh, no. What happened to the animals?
Fortunately, there were no animals aboard.
Was there a rainbow?
At the time.
Did God give another promise? It's like, I will never make the Ark crash again.
Oh, my God. Yeah, this is bad for them. This does not bode well. I feel like it's an omen. Far from there being a rainbow, I feel like this is the opposite of a rainbow.
What's the omen saying?
Well, cut it out, I think, is what it's saying. You're annoying everybody.
Bad idea.
Right. Apparently, Mr. Huybers, the what's his name? His name was Johan Huybers. I'm going to call him Huybers.
Okay.
It was the guy that funded and had this thing built.
Excellent.
I'm not going to fall into the way that this has always been presented by the media is that he's a carpenter who built this thing. He's a contractor who had the thing built. Everybody tried to make this into this story of like a guy in his backyard, like hammering and sawing wood by hand. No.
Okay.
This is a wealthy man who had this thing built.
Okay.
Anywho, he was apparently very shaken up by the whole thing.
Oh, no.
He said, quote, "It's an awful dream to have an accident with the Ark of Noah."
Oh.
So he's on his way to Norway. Oh, and here's Here's how he presented it: with wood, nails, and a hammer to repair it. Enough with this story. It's such bullshit.
Yeah.
But oh well.
They didn't cover, well, I guess because Nova was covering it. But Nova did one of their little build some archaeological or some sort of supposed thing from the past experiments, right? Can it be built? Can we raise an Egyptian obelisk using ancient technologies?
Right.
Can we this? Can we, right?
Right,
They love that little, story device. I watched one recently about the Ark.
Yeah, sure.
And it was actually quite fascinating because they went back to the Epic of Gilgamesh and even further back and looked at, well, what was going on in the region and what were the cities like and what was sort of the climate like and what was living near one of these rivers like. And their little towns would often flood away because of the way that the rivers flowed.
Right.
Right. And so every generation or two, the town would be wiped out.
Would be flooded out.
Right. And so they were like, well, what if this is actually sort of based in that reality? And there was some dude who was like, well, fuck you, river, and built basically a barge and put his animals on it.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Like his
not
goats.
all the animals. He didn't go to Africa and
he had 4 goats and 3 cows.
Right. He didn't round up giraffes and elephants and whatnot. Right. And
you mean he didn't round up 2 of 8.7 million different species to put them all on a boat?
No.
I'm not sure.
No, he didn't do that.
I'm not sure that.
No, probably not.
I think you're wrong. I think he did.
And so anyway, so they looked at sort of the raft type, like what boats could they find in sort of the archaeological, history, right?
Right.
Archaeological record or whatever. And what could they build that might be sort of to the dimensions that are described in the Bible?
Yeah.
Right. And so they do it. And the thing floated. It wasn't like they had a lot of control over it or anything, but the thing did float.
Okay.
And it didn't break in half.
But they didn't make it to the specs in the Bible, did they?
Not fully, completely, because the Bible does describe more of a
lengthy
thing, right?
Yeah, it's huge.
Right.
And there's no way, from what I've seen, from what I've read, like if this thing is just made of wood, there's no way this thing is seaworthy.
Right.
It would just fall apart.
Well, nonetheless, they did like a more of a disc shape.
Oh, so they didn't use the specs in the Bible at all then?
No, maybe they were more the ones from Gilgamesh. I can't remember, but they used some sort of record. Yeah, and they were like, well, let's go with that one, right?
Yeah,
and let's see if we can actually do it.
Sure.
And then, of course, the other peoples came along, stole the story, and borrowed it, and turned it into their own thing, and made it more fantastical.
As you do. You know.
Yeah.
Don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. That's the mantra.
Right. But I loved that Nova was tackling this whole thing, and they were like, by the way, anyone at home who thinks that the Bible's the first recounting of this story.
Right, yeah.
There's multiple different versions throughout antiquity of that same story.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting.
Well, next time they need to get their qubits right, I say, and see what happens.
Right, yeah.
Anyway, well, if you have anything you need to add to the ARC conversation or anything that we've spoken about, ladies and gentlemen, please feel free to write into us. That's podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
We sure do love it when you do that. Go like the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
And while on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It's a closed group, so you have to be let in.
Yeah. So, hey, before we do anything else, I want to talk about Loot Crate.
Oh, Loot Crate. Yes.
Just a quick reminder to all of you people out there that we are offering unto you a chance to support our show and get a whole bunch of really
sweet deal,
cool stuff. Yeah, like get way more stuff than you're paying for.
Yeah,
you sign up for a subscription monthly. and every month they send you a box full of really cool, like, geek, nerd, comic book, pop culture, sci-fi pop culture stuff.
Yeah. What's the theme this month, Dan?
We're still in the dystopian future, or dystopia month.
That'll be
I
fun.
think. So yeah, really cool stuff. A lot of fun things. So go to lootcrate.com/TGI Atheist.
Yeah.
Not TGIA. Don't go to TGIA. If you do, you're helping somebody else, and we can't, and that's not us. TGI Atheist. Lootcrate.com/TGI Atheist. And
can you say it another time, Dan?
What? LootCrate.com/TGI Atheist? Is that what you wanted me to say? Of course I can say LootCrate.com/TGI Atheist. I can say it as many times as you want me to. Want me to do it again?
I don't know, Dan. Can you?
LootCrate.com/TGI Atheist? I can do it. I'm capable. Anyway, just go there. You'll get like double the amount of stuff than you're paying for. It's cool. You'll enjoy it.
Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break. This is a certain Dave Dobinmere. He was a high school football coach. Got fired for forcing all of his players to pray. Mm-hmm. And apparently he does something online that he posts online.
Sure.
And so here's him talking. He's a
celebrity now.
He gets right to the point. So let's just listen in.
He's good at that.
White Christian heterosexual men have spread the gospel of Jesus Christ throughout the world. And if we can get them silenced, the gospel is silenced. And not only is it, guys, listen, this goes beyond race. I just saw today on the internet some big Christian singer, I don't know his name because I don't follow that stuff, came out as a homo. And the church is embracing him, embracing the homo. But see, it's another minority that we're being taught to embrace. Now, most of us probably feel a little bit uncomfortable talking about white folks, and that's what they've done to us, see? And it's only, as I said earlier, it's only the white Christian heterosexual male that can save the world. We can't save the world. That was a terrible phrase. We're the only ones that can contend for Western civilization. We are it.
Oh my God! Let me tell you, another minority that we have to embrace. We have to embrace another one?
No,
I don't want to embrace any of them. The saviors of the world, the white Christian men.
Thank God.
Straight white Christian men.
Thank God for straight, white, heterosexual white Christian men.
Christian men.
Thank God.
They're the only
there just
hope.
Aren't enough of them in the world.
Help me, white straight Christian men. You're my only hope. I'd like to, as a straight white male, I don't have the Christian thing going for me, but I'd like to say this to all of our listeners. You're welcome. We're so helpful. We straight white men. We make everybody's life better. Until we start, embracing minorities, then the world diversity.
Fuck that shit.
God, it's the worst. I just love that he says it. Like he's like Trump. He's actually just he forgot his filter, left it at home. Well, and it just comes tumbling out of his mouth.
Here's an interesting thing, and he actually kind of says it, right? He knows that for a while in this country, white men, white people didn't feel really comfortable talking about
whiteness.
Yeah. Right? They didn't understand it, but they knew but the sort of the politically correct movement had successfully silenced a lot of the hateful speech in this country, right?
Oh.
And it taught us some better words to use, but what it didn't do, for everyone, was actually teach them about diversity. Right?
Well, yeah.
It didn't actually. It just silenced the hatred. It didn't.
Right. Which is a good start.
It's a good start. But what I actually think is important about the rise of Trump and the this little pressure release that's happening right now in our culture, where everybody feels like that they can come out and say their hateful things,
right?
Is that we can see it.
Sure.
We know where it is.
Oh.
We know how bad it continues to be.
Yeah.
And we can say, you know what? We might have thought that we'd made a lot of progress here. But
all we managed to do was like make it just fester inside of them instead of it coming out of their face holes.
I think it's good for it to be out for a minute.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, at least when people are like, "Oh, this country's not that racist anymore. This country we've managed to achieve equality, really. We're not that homophobic anymore."
Right.
Because people had stopped because they were afraid to say it. Rightfully so.
Right.
Because we'll come down on you.
Right.
But that just meant that it went interior. It didn't mean that they had come up with anything new.
Now, the problem is they have all found each other again.
Right.
Right. And so they know who they can be, and they feel empowered in their...
God bless them.
In their hatred and homophobia and
idiots.
Whatnot. Racism.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that in itself, you don't want a bunch of empowered racists out there. But,
no, but as long as they're saying it out loud, we can find out where they are.
Exactly.
We know who they are.
We know we can do a good assessment of the dangers and risks at play here.
Which are mostly the dangers and risks are that straight white men aren't getting their due anymore.
I just feel for them.
I know, me too.
Poor guys. It's pathetic. You know,
yeah.
I feel bad for them because they're in such, emotional turmoil.
He's talking about when he says white people, we can't even talk about being white anymore. It's because all the things that he wants to say about being white are utter bullshit and are coming from that privileged place.
Right.
And he doesn't actually understand what being white means in the slightest, except that we're superior. White people are better. I know that much. I don't really know anything else, but I know that I want to be able to talk about white people because they're cool and they're better than everybody else. Anyway, okay, let's move on. We had some folks write into us, some lovely listeners, so I'm going to jump right into that. Nadine wrote in to say, oh, and this is for you, Frank. Oh. Okay, guys, you can't mention Snapchat and then not give out your Snapchat codes. Come on, boy. Share. So,
well, okay, let's see what my username is. Will it work with just my username, folks?
I have no idea. I've never even been to Snapchat. Is it a place? I don't know.
I think it'll work with just my... How you appear on Snapchat. So pick a name your friends know you by. Okay, yeah, that's true.
We're doing the research now.
It appears that I did... Here's what it says underneath my name. Because there's that little picture thing, guys, which I suppose I could post online.
Post it on the members only lounge.
So you could take a picture of it, Yeah. But if you want to come find me on Snapchat, this might be terrifying. I don't know enough about it, but I guess I can just shut it down if it explodes on me. It says my name, Frank, right? And then it says Frank Film, and then it has like a line. One of those vertical lines.
You're going to give someone the ability to hack your Snapchat is what's going to happen.
No.
Okay.
I'm not giving them my password.
Frank Film, and then vertical line.
Vertical line. And then 165.
Okay.
Well, no, because if somebody comes along and takes a picture of it, I know how that works.
Right. Maybe you should post a screenshot of that. It's like a QR code sort of thing,
yeah,
right?
That's exactly what it is.
So post a screenshot of that in the members-only lounge. Probably don't want to post it on the public page, do you?
I don't know. I know people make these things available to the public.
Well, do it. I don't care.
I don't know.
By next week, Frank won't have Snapchat anymore, is what we're getting at.
And, but this also, folks, this comes with a warning.
Okay.
I want to be clear about this warning, which is my Snapchat is utter nonsense. And I don't post there all the time, but it is, of all the social media, it is the one that I do participate in.
Oh, really?
On some level.
Sure.
Yeah.
So if you want to interact with Frank's nonsense, track him down.
I mean, I suppose I could start looking out for atheist or silly god stuff or whatever, and post that, if that happens. But otherwise, it's seriously me and my dog, or what else could it be?
Do you do face swaps with Milo?
No, that's just horrifying.
I think you should.
If I see something funny out in the world, or just I mean, the other day I just took a bunch of pictures of like movie posters. Because where I was at, there were a bunch of posters, and so I posted those. Like I said,
so if that boring nonsense appeals to you,
it ain't gonna be great. I can promise you that, and it will have nothing to do with "Thank God I'm Atheist."
Right.
And if that intrigues you on some level, feel free to come find me.
To friend you, to
add me,
to snap you.
I think it's add me.
I think you snap.
I think you add people on Snapchat.
Petter in Alaska wrote into us. He said, "Hi folks, I was recently researching the religiosity of George Washington, and noticed that his use of expressions such as 'my God' and 'thank God' were taken as evidence of his belief in God. Since you often use similar expressions, I wonder how this strikes you."
Oh, every once in a while there's an email that calls us out on this.
I think it's clear you can't take those expressions as evidence for Christianity. You got to go a little deeper than that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, well, I mean, or maybe somebody's going to now write an essay about why Frank and Dan are actually secretly Christians, which would actually tickle me pink.
Well, in the early days of the podcast, we were accused of being Christian trolls.
Yes, that's true.
So
that's true.
I think if we are, boy, we're playing the long game.
Yes, yes, we are. It is the very long. Boy, you guys are going to be psyched out
when the big reveal happens.
When the big reveal happens in 4 more years, just 4 more years of this, and suddenly we'll all be like, psych. We're Christian motherfuckers. Now come to Jesus.
Yeah. Here's the deal. I think that all these things are just in the vernacular.
They belong to culture.
You say Jesus Christ, you say, oh my God. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, they're cultural references, not religious references. Yeah. But Petter has another question.
Oh, okay.
He has numbered both of his questions number 1. I like that.
Fun. All right.
So question also number 1. Tangentially, I'm also wondering if in writing you'd capitalize the name of the gaudy character when you make such exclamations.
When I say, oh my God, and I type it, no, I do not. When I talk about God as sort of the name of whatever deity a lot of people in this country believe in, then I do capitalize it.
Yeah, it does seem to be his name.
Yeah.
Or that seems to be the reason he's capitalized.
Yeah.
So maybe?
I
would definitely capitalize like Yahweh or...
It's a proper name,
Jehovah.
Even though... You know, the Christians really didn't come up with anything fun for the name of their God.
Yeah.
But
it just depends. I mean, I'll tell you this. If you're really trying to piss off a Christian in an online debate with them, go ahead and don't capitalize.
Sure. If what you're trying to do is push their buttons.
Right. Yeah, that's a good button to push, but it doesn't really do anything.
When I type out OMG, it's capital O, capital M, lowercase g.
Just to be a fucker.
O-M. God.
Right. Although in Mormon circles, I see a lot of "O.M. goodness" written out. Maybe they'll just assume that that's what you're doing. It's just switching to goodness instead of God.
I think that's such a specific reference, Dan. I think I'm safe.
O.M. goodness. Liz wrote in to say a little thing about the Swiss. Now, if you'll recall, Frank.
Yeah.
You and I talked about the Swiss people because there was a story about how in Switzerland the young a couple of young Muslim boys didn't want to touch
the female teacher's hands.
Right.
In the tradition grand Swiss tradition of shaking hands.
Right. But they were in the grand Muslim tradition of girls have cooties.
Right.
So they were not going to do that.
Did we speak in general terms? Too much?
Well, what we said, we were just kind of making fun of the Swiss a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
And she says, the Swiss, a little thing about the Swiss. I'm a third-generation Swiss immigrant to these United States. I don't think that means she's an immigrant. I think she means she's
descended from an immigrant.
She said her grandparents or great-grandparents
were Swiss.
Were Swiss.
Okay.
Came over from Switzerland.
Okay.
Because Switzerland is so close to so many different countries, and the cultures... it is a true definition of a melting pot. A melting pot of a lot of white people. Anyway, most citizens speak German, but there are a total of 4 national languages spoken throughout, including French, Italian, and Romansh. which is a descendant of Latin. Also, the Swiss do not form a nation in the sense of a common ethnicity or language, but rather a strong sense of identity and community, founded on common historical background and shared values. She says, so I totally understand the decision against the Muslim schoolboys. If they are to be Swiss and work and live in Switzerland, they must be Swiss. And that means touching females without yelling cooties. Cooties. Yeah.
Same thing.
I must have stolen her joke. Anyway, also, there's more. She says, also, there's more than just yodeling. There's the Alp horn, which she describes as a very large wooden trump-like instrument. And sounds like a mixture of the tuba and didgeridoo.
Fantastic.
That's true.
The Swiss with their rich,
their dirndls and alp horns, cowbells and believe me, I love Switzerland.
Oh, Switzerland's beautiful,
gorgeous to visit.
It's fantastic.
And
however,
not a melting pot in any sort of. I mean, yes, there's all of these different. It's a melting pot of people who are all kind of the same, of Europeans.
I mean, tell French people that they're like German people, or Italians that they're like the Germans. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
And so, I mean, I get it. Switzerland brought together these different groups of people, right?
Yeah.
Who all lived in the same region of Europe,
right?
And they formed a nation, and they've done a good job of it, and they've they have these really strongly held ideals about what it means to be Swiss.
Yes, indeed.
As this collection of people who are different, right?
Yes.
What is it? What is the thing that we have in common?
What is our basic Swissness?
Yeah. What is that all about? What do we believe in as a people and whatnot? And
what makes you a Swiss sir or a Swiss miss?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, they have defined that.
And so I get that they want to protect that because that's what they've always been.
Because xenophobia is good for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, it is hard to use the word melting pot and then say, but you have to change to match what's already in the pot.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Sure, you can be an ingredient in our pot. Just be one of the ingredients already in the pot. We've closed the recipe.
No carrots.
This is not an open recipe.
Celery and onions and potatoes.
That's it.
No carrots.
9.
Carrot, change your color.
What's Schweizerdeutsch for carrot? We can't have them. Anyway, I mean, you and I were talking earlier about America and how it's trying to sort like we get all these evangelicals and all these like Tea Party types who are trying to close our melting pot.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to keep out outsiders, trying to keep out Muslims, trying to keep out Mexicans, trying to make sure that America is the America that they remember and that their grandparents grew up in. And they've go
back a generation or two, and it's just a different group of people that we're all afraid of.
Right.
Like, it was the Italians at one point.
Yeah, exactly.
How unimaginable is that?
The Irish. We don't want the Irish being part of our melting pot.
Right.
The fact of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, that the whole idea of melting pot America, and the best thing that America has, and the thing that actually has made America successful, is that we let everybody in. We look at all the stuff that they bring along.
Yeah.
We take the good stuff. They eventually abandon the stuff that isn't as fun.
Yeah.
Because America's awesome and there's like great things in our culture, and eventually everyone kind of gets the best of all the worlds. Or at least
that's the hope.
Or at least some of the good stuff of all the worlds.
Yeah.
I mean, our food is awesome.
Yeah.
I don't care what you say. We got amazing food here because as soon as somebody's like, "Hey, have you guys tried curry?" We're all like, "Fuck yeah, curry!" And suddenly like, and then we're like, "What about a curry hot dog? What about a curry, blah blah blah?"
Right.
What about curry tacos? We love all the things. We'll just do whatever. We're crazy.
Yeah, it's true.
We'll go loco on you, SA.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So
Dan just really said something there.
Boy, did I ever. Let's move on, shall we? It's we
I don't even know what else I would add.
No, don't add anything.
Nothing.
Let's just move on.
Can I just put a period? Boop.
And we're done. So a couple of weeks ago we were reading in on the intertubes, and a story came up about a band.
Oh yeah,
a Christian band.
A band of Christians.
A band of this band of brothers.
This band of Christians.
And they and there was a big to do because the leader of that band had left his Christianity.
Abandoned.
Yeah, I tried to
his
avoid
Christian
that.
faith. Dan,
I tried to avoid it. Anyway, so I had a conversation with said band singer, and should we just play that?
Let's listen in.
Well, I'm here with Shannon Low. Shannon, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, what's going on, man? It's good to be here.
Appreciate it. We learned about your story just a couple weeks ago. You came up on pretty much every atheist outlet in the world suddenly was talking about your band, The Order of Elijah, and you. And so I wondered if you wanted to tell us why that happened.
Well, just in a nutshell, we've been a Christian band since 2008. We signed to a Christian label, and about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I was setting out of service one day of church. I had decided to get back into church after some bad things happened in life and such, and I went over some barbaric stories that I just overlooked. So I started diving in deeper, and I most of the stories in that testimony I posted, but I will say that I just spent about half of a year researching and learning new things that I just never even realized or looked at. I read some Sam Harris books, read The God Delusion, of course, and then I felt like I was kind of in an eggshell because here I was trapped in this Christian band, and I had realized that I had shed my faith completely, and finding no other title to resort to other than really an atheist. That's the only way I could classify myself. And I separated the band from the title Christian band in 2015, thinking that would be enough. But the fundamentalist crowd that we had kind of picked up from our previous label, we're signed to a secular label now, but it still kind of followed us around like a shadow and kind of prevented us from being ourselves and expressing ourselves artistically without getting completely bashed.
Right.
With religious stuff. So it just piled up, and one day I ultimately decided to type up a resolution for everyone because there was a lot of questions floating around, and I was feeling kind of backed into a corner, and I didn't want to upset fans. I didn't want to upset anyone around me, but after I read some more, and I watched a little bit of Hemet, the Friendly Atheist, talk about what it's like to come out and tell your friends that you're an atheist, because it's almost like these days atheists are looked down more than transgenders and homosexuals, and as crazy as that sounds.
Right.
And so I just decided to go ahead and be honest. I didn't want to. I knew people were still buying our album, believing we were a Christian band, even though our last album was written primarily after I'd lost my faith.
Now, just to give my listeners a little bit of context for what we're talking about here, your Christian band wasn't exactly like lovely voice. We're not talking about pretty things here. We're talking about some pretty hardcore metal. Am I right?
Yeah, there's actually quite an underground scene for the Christian, hardcore metal type genres, and there's some bands that do really well for themselves. There's entire labels that devote all their bands are Christian heavy metal type stuff. Most of it, we were kind of like the bad boys. We had, if you read our lyrics, from before, you wouldn't even really be able to tell we were a Christian band. But
yeah, you guys were quite your voice. You're very screamy. You've got an amazing scream to you. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. Usually we appeal to we appeal to more of the youth. We appeal to 15 to 25-year-old usually that enjoy metal and some heavy music. And we've always kind of just try to be true in our lyrics and not try to. A lot of these heavy bands, I mean, if you dissect their lyrics, it looks like a Joel Osteen post masked with aggressive undertones and growls. But on this last album is whenever I had stepped away from Christianity, so I was writing about that, and I figured it'd be apparent enough in the lyrics, but we still kind of had, like I said, that shadow that followed us, and I believe that I've cleared that shadow off pretty well lately. Just a matter of being honest, I suppose.
Sure. So how have your fans reacted? I mean, if you've got this huge Christian following and suddenly you say, I'm an atheist, I mean, surely there are plenty of non-fans in the Christian world who, once they heard your music, were like, well, that makes sense. Didn't you get, first, I mean, I guess the first question is, when you were a Christian band, when you guys were like deep into the Christian thing, was there a backlash against, because the kind of music that you guys play is exactly the kind of music that you hear Christian mothers talking about the devil, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the kind of music that scares Christian moms and dads.
Yeah, that there is there's still a certain few Christians out there that deem metal music as something that's evil. But a lot of the non-denominational, more modernized churches, I'm talking, like the bigger churches with lasers and that stuff. I mean, they're totally open to tattoos. And, I mean, they think, whenever I was part of the church, I was chock full of tattoos. They had me on the teenage group, and, they all thought that was cool. I could connect with them and stuff. So, there is a big ministry in these non-denominational churches, primarily that would be focused towards heavier music sometimes.
Sure.
But yeah, there is always those people that haven't liked us. We've been banned from churches and stuff like that before. Now, after I came out as an atheist, it kind of turned into a chaotic whirlpool just for a little while, because I had so many atheists come to us in support because we were getting bashed so bad by some of our, I guess you would say, previous fans now.
Right.
And I've had fans tell me anywhere from ripping our posters off and burning our CDs to, deleting us off their iPod or stuff like that.
Have you gotten hate mail? Have you gotten some negative responses on? You did a big Facebook post. Was that the big coming out? Was the Facebook post?
Yeah, that was the initial thing. I did not expect it to gain the traction or the attention that it did. I mean, I guess there's a lot of other people that related with the same struggles I mentioned.
Yeah.
Patheos, they picked it up as an article, and after that, I believe, is whenever it kind of took off.
Right.
But it's been a black and white. We'll get either someone. I've had people physical threats all the way to. I mean, I can't explain how many novels of Old Testament apologetics I've gotten.
Of course.
The Richard Dawkins hate. Yeah, like for some reason everyone's really compelled, even atheists are compelled to tell me how shitty they think Richard Dawkins is. And I'm like, man, all right. I mean, I never said that he was like, a saint or anything. I just enjoyed his book.
Yeah, but, that's the good thing about being an atheist. We don't have saints. That's not a thing that we do. But yeah, that's really fascinating. So you guys, tell me about this. Now you wrote about your personal journey. You wrote about reading. I love that the story started with the one of my favorite Bible stories, which is that of Elisha, the prophet who gets teased for being bald by a bunch of children, and he calls down bears on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty fucked up.
You should see, and I'm sure you have, the acrobatics that I will see the Christian apologists throw out for that specific verse is just mind-boggling, because the acrobats that a lot of Christian apologists seem to pull off just to justify that one story.
Oh, yeah.
Seems limitless.
It's crazy.
Everyone's got a justification for why it was okay for those kids to get ripped apart, and I've heard them all.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like 42 kids or something like that were killed by bears.
Yeah. There's absolutely nothing ethical about that story.
And then you went on
I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to figure that out.
And then you went on to read. Now this was your big mistake, if you don't mind me saying so. Going on to read the rest of the Bible and actually pay attention to all those stories, it's not good for your faith, man.
No, that's not. I had read all of it before, but whenever you're juiced up on the moment and you don't even know any better, you're young, you just read right past those stories. I remember a few stories that perked my ears up whenever I was a young believer, such as like all of the women had to go into a camp outside of town whenever they're on their period.
Right.
And I remember I was like, that's weird. But I just, you just look right past it. It just goes in one ear and out the other. And even today, I can look at the story of Abraham, and I'm like, a man heard voices and mutilated himself, and then like almost killed his kid.
Right.
And there's just not much admirable about that. But for some reason,
you got to admit that's pretty metal.
That is pretty metal. I know. That is pretty metal.
Like he cut his own dick off, and then he goes and he has to convince everybody else in the town to cut their dicks off. He's like, dude, you guys gotta cut like just like that skin at the top, just cut that off, man. And then he convinces everybody to do it. That's hardcore right there.
David would be the most metal for gathering like 200-300 foreskins from battle.
Oh right, yeah. That's rough stuff, man. That's hardcore.
Man, that had to be. If you think about that much foreskin being dragged through the desert in a big bag, that's just a lot of bacteria accumulating in one place.
Yeah, but think of the barbecue they had later.
Oh my God,
that's disgusting. I apologize for that. So what's coming up? Here's the question I was going to ask you. The band, like you guys were a Christian band, then you have a coming out. Did everybody just go along with you? All your bandmates?
They had been with me throughout the whole transitional process.
Right.
And no one in the band really shares the same points of view, but I know that none of them are religious. The Christian thing began like years ago, and that was my idea, and I kind of was the one that kept it driving over the years, the years before. And whenever I came to them in 2015, and they knew I was letting go of faith pretty quick, and I was like, guys, I don't think we should be a Christian band anymore. I don't think we should sell this. And I remember every one of them was like, finally. Yeah, good.
Oh.
So they've been completely chill with it.
That's good. So who's the better audience, a Christian audience or a secular audience?
I tell you what, the secular and the atheistic community that's come to our page, I didn't expect it, but it has been a breath of fresh air. Everyone it builds each other up, but it has a reasonable approach. And I mean, I don't know, like we've gotten a lot of positive support, so I don't have any complaints. We had some atheists whenever it was first posted. They were kind of talking shit on us, but yeah, it goes in one ear out the other.
Sure.
I understand we're not going to please everyone, and we are kind of an awkward genre of music, so I don't expect everyone to be down, but I will say the ones that have come over and joined us, they're having a great day with all of the Christians that are left on the page.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because and we've boosted in activity and likes and all that, but I know that a lot of Christians are just sticking with us, and some of them even say, I don't care if you guys are atheists now. I still love your music, and I'm going to stick around.
Nice,
cool. And then there'll be an atheist pop on there and be like, you know what, you're cool. I wish more people were like you and stuff like that. But if they get on there and like, there's this one guy, and every time I take a stance for LGBT equality, this guy gets on and does a rant about incest and just will not give up incest. But at the same time, it's kind of annoying. It is just hilarious to watch him just get owned by the secular community. They're like, what is wrong with you? What is your obsession with incest?
Plus, incest is one of the things
that's an argument of theirs.
Plus, incest is one of the things that their book is a little wishy-washy on. Like, the Bible gets a little, doesn't outright condemn all incest the way you might want it to. No,
the only good guy out of Sodom and Gomorrah was Lot, and then he went off and had sex with his daughters.
Right. Yeah, so it's like, if you're condemning incest, have you read your book? Has that guy even read his own book? Because that's, he's on a weird rant on that one.
And if you think about it, they often always throw the Sodom and Gomorrah thing whenever LGBT equality was coming through. They were like, "Oh, we're going to be the next Sodom and Gomorrah,"
right?
And then it's ironic they use the incest argument against us, or against the LGBT. It's like, well, the only guy that God seemed fit to keep out of all of those horrible homosexuals from Sodom and Gomorrah went off and committed incest. So obviously that's the grounds you guys stand on.
Right, yeah. If you just read 12 pages later, you'll discover something horrifying.
Oh, yeah.
That's funny. Well,
story's goofy.
Well, what's next? What's coming up for you guys now that you're free from the shackles of Christianity? What's next for Order of Elijah?
Well, we leave for tour next week. We have a tour kickoff show tomorrow here in our hometown. We're going to be throughout the summer. We're going to be going through Colorado, California, all down the south.
Nice.
We'll be in Texas and New Mexico. We'll go up to Michigan, and so we're going to be on the road for a while. And we're really excited because a lot of the new fans we've had come in, they're excited to come out and meet us, and people that have hit me up on my inbox and been like, hey, I've got a similar story, this and that. What would you think about meeting whenever you come through? I'm like, yeah, come on, we'll sit down and have lunch or something.
Right.
So, I'm really looking forward to it. Whenever our album dropped, we hit top 10 on iTunes charts. So, the album's doing really well for us. And
congratulations, man.
Probably guess the next album might be a little bit more brutal, especially philosophically.
Nice. Here's what I want to see. I want to see an album, an entire metal interpretation of all of the fucked up stories in the Bible that got you out of the thing.
I'll just call us one song Old Testament or something.
There you go. I like it. I like it.
I was thinking about calling the next album. I haven't said this anywhere publicly, so I was thinking about calling the next album Apostasy. We'll see if it happens.
There you go. Well, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Well, hey, Shannon Low, thank you so much for coming on the show.
All right. Well, I appreciate you having me. It's really good talk, man.
Yeah, good luck to you, and I'm sure a bunch of our listeners will be out there at your shows cheering you on.
All right. I appreciate it.
Well, there you go.
Dan.
Didn't he seem like a nice guy?
Well done. Yeah.
Just a nice fella.
Yeah.
Who screams at people. I don't even know how you do that. How does the man have a voice anymore?
I don't know.
Anyway.
Wow. Okay. But nonetheless.
But now he screams at them about.
Is that how he yells at his neighbors, do you think? You know?
Yeah, but that's how he does it. Get off my lawn! No. That's his friendly yell. Come over for a barbecue! We'd love to have you over for a swim.
It's a serious thing. Like, you have to train your vocal cords to be able to handle it. Or is there a technique?
There is technique to it.
Okay.
Yeah, you work with a guy who is in a bit of a
that's true
metal band.
Yeah, a few of them actually.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, Daniel, how do people respond to all this?
Yes. If you have something you'd want to say, you can. First of all, I'm gonna go out of order. You can scream it at us if you call our voicemail number, which is 424-666
8442.
8442.
Or you can send us a email message, which is podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
And while on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge. Request to join.
Yes.
Closed group.
Yep. That's right. Well, hey, thanks to Mackenzie for doing our social media over on the Facebooks.
And thanks to the Red Rock Hot Club for the continued use of their music.
And thank you, dear listener, for tuning in.
Bye!